second gear rip. Yeah! What's going on, guys? We are back with the Terminator Cobra. It's actually been a week already. Today, well, probably tomorrow, but we should be driving it for the first time. There is an oil leak in the oil cooler, so we got some work to do there. We got a lot of buttoning up to do, but just got the mid pipe on, working on getting the fuel lines buttoned up. A lot of odds and ends here to do. We got the H pipe on. We have, actually, I picked this up. It's a Steeda Touring catback. And this isn't exactly my ideal catback. If anyone out there wants to trade this for a Stinger catback, you want something a little quieter, this is your thing. But this was 300 bucks. It's brand new, tips are brand new. So I figured I was gonna go ahead and grab this, get it on the car, so that way it's a nice bolt-on setup, because the Magnapack setup that was on this would have needed to been welded, and this is ready to bolt on. So I'll either buy some Stinger mufflers down the line or trade those muffler sections out for some Stingers. Maybe a Tax, but I don't know, a Tax is pretty loud. And I also want to build an X pipe for this car since it has an H pipe. But we're gonna work with what we got for right now, and then we'll fine tune that exhaust later. Don't you worry, because I am pretty picky on, I pretty much want the X pipe with the boreless Stingers in the long tubes. So we got some work to do. We'll check back in.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Mustang Lifestyle YouTube channel. Balake here, Andrew over here, this guy.
Do you still hear that?
The mouse over there just having a fucking blast.
Dude, that thing's big.
The little buddy over there is bugging, dude. He's like digging in some trash. The local dumpster guy's been like MIA a couple weeks, so.
Dang. I don't know how I feel about that right there.
He's a big boy.
That's a big boy. He's fed well, honestly.
Yeah, man.
Hey, man,
he's staring at you. He's staring at you, dude.
Why do you keep fucking going away? Like. I think we're done.
Anyways, Andrew's been hard at work, bolting up the exhaust and other things for the old Terminator, but mainly the exhaust. He's like a kid in a candy shop right now, seeing that all bolted up. He's got a nice Steeda catback, really made by Borla, but with Steeda names on it.
Got that exhaust, bro.
The exhaust is on, looking classy, pretty much brand new Steeda catback he got. It's, what is the headers and mid-pipe?
Cook's long tubes, Cook's H pipe.
So he's gonna start up, see how she sounds. Here, I'm gonna get the rear shot of it starting. Very quiet. Definitely an exhaust leak. I think so.
Probably need some more.
I'll turn it off, don't worry. I'll shut it off, don't worry. Huh? Do it again? sound kind of like a truck. Sounds pretty healthy, dude.
Yeah.
It's very quiet. That's the cat pack same one my dad had, right?
I know Jason has the same one. Jason's car is really quiet.
Yeah, my dad's car had it. My dad's car had it, and it was very quiet. Sounds good though. It's a good sound. It's a good start.
Yeah, not too bad. I knocked some set screw out of it, so it's starting to idle.
Yeah, it sounded really good when you first started it.
Yeah. 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 All right, well, we found our leak. There wasn't an O2 sensor there.
That's good.
Yeah, tiny bit more.
You still got a little something under there, I think.
Yeah, it still sounds like there's more.
It didn't at first, but now it does.
Header gasket?
I believe it. I mean, you took half the header off, to be fair, in the car. That header just will never leave you alone. Those are, you use pretty quality gaskets, right?
Ford.
They might have just loosened up.
I'll try tightening it up. See where we can get.
It just sounded like it loosened to me.
Hmm?
It sounded like the just came unfastened.
Yeah, I heard a weird noise. That's why I was
like,
looking at each
I was
other.
like, yeah, we both looked at each other, and I like was hovering over the motor, and I was like, this shit like sounds like the motor's making a noise right now, but it also kind of sounds like an exhaust leak. And I was like, I wonder if his EGR leak was working correctly.
All right, guys. So we're still dealing with the oil leak. Good news is that header leak isn't on the head to the header. It's on the 4-to-1 collector, so I think we can fix that. I want to start getting things accomplished rather than going in circles with the problems. At least start getting the other stuff that is time consuming, but we can accomplish it. Let's get that knocked off the list, and then we'll start doing the further diag on the oil leak and exhaust leak. What we have here is an autometer dual gauge setup. We're going to do wideband, oil pressure, your two vitals right there. I do want to put a perfect tuning gauge in this later on, or something similar that gives you any data you see from the MS3. I don't want to do a digital dash because I do like the stock Cobra cluster, but we're going to go hop into that. We have my AEM wideband right here. The sensor's already in the car, tucked up, ready to go. We're going to wire this to the COULDN signal. We're also going to wire it with the oil pressure and the flex fuel sensor. They're all going to be on the same COULDN signal with an added fuse. We're gonna get this swapped in. I do have one gripe with it, and it's black. So you can't buy these in the correct dark charcoal color. I was thinking about doing like hydro dip or something, but I might have to buy another because I don't want to take this one out to get it done. You know the deal. So we'll play around with the ideas. If anyone has something cool, dual gauge, carbon or whatever, let me know, but we're gonna swap this one in for now. All right, so I just went ahead and cleaned up the Cobra cluster. I actually found a nice GT cluster that had a really nice plastic, screen glass. So we went ahead and swapped that, put it back together, should be good to go. Yeah. Fancy. All right, guys, so we're actually in pretty good shape. I'm pretty sure the intercooler pump doesn't work. We're gonna get down to some diag on that. Pretty common when you pick up an 03, 04 Cobra, you can have a bad intercooler pump. So we're gonna jump into that, but we do have to install the Volvo electric power steering, something that we decided to do on this build. So we gotta get her done. So I'm gonna pull the front bumper off. In the interior, we got everything ran over to the Mega Squirt. Gauges work, flex fuels wired. So we're doing pretty good. All right, guys, so we are pretty close to being able to drive the car. Got the Volvo electric power steering rigged up. Just mounted it right here in this corner, nice and simple. So we should have plenty of room for our fog lights and everything we need. This Volvo pump setup, I've been meaning to make a video on how to do this, but I kind of just got involved in it. We have a high pressure line out, low pressure backfeed. It's got its own reservoir. I pump fluid in here. Some people might knock it, saying you can't change fluid without pulling the bumper off, but really shouldn't have to get in here once it's there and there's no leaks. So the bumper's not that hard to pull off. We feed into the factory power steering cooler, feed into the rack. We got this nice high pressure AN line, PTFE. I built this line, run it right into there. We're running the factory line here that goes to the rack. That's a high pressure to the rack. I couldn't get the rack fitting off. Otherwise I was gonna make two high pressure ANs just like that. But that's how it goes. Cool enough. It works pretty well. So let's go ahead and key it on. You can hear the fuel pumps and then you'll hear the pump. And this obviously works when on the ground. You can hear when it hits the max stop. So, looking pretty good. Interior's looking pretty complete. I gotta knock a handle on there real quick. Might have to tweak the suspension. It's definitely gonna need alignment. Everything in the front end has been removed and also from a completely different car, the K-member at least. Blower's looking good. We're obviously gonna need a detail of the engine bay. I forgot to tighten one line and power steering fluid went everywhere. That's how it goes. But we're looking pretty good. Rigging up some fog lights, making sure those are gonna work. Got the wheels on. So getting really close. All right, guys, well, thought we'd be on the road probably by now, or at least out of the shop, but for some reason, the steering rack is cracked on this side. Shooting out fluid from up top. Fortunately, we have the stock rack from this car. This is the rack out of the Silver Cobra. For some reason, it's got a crack in it. Don't know how that got there. Once we get it off, we'll take a look better, but shooting right out from the aluminum casting. So this is the original rack that was in the car. Power steering worked when it drove in here. Let's go ahead and break this all down. We are also putting a sway bar back on this car. I was just kind of leaving that for basically the last thing to do. All right, just like that, the rack is out. Not sure what happened here. I do not remember this rack was a little hard to get off of the K-member. I don't think all those marks were from me, but it is leaking externally from right here. So we're gonna go ahead and get the stock red fire rack swapped in. We just pulled this right off the K-member. Gonna get it bolted right on. All right, guys, so back to where we thought we were this morning. New steering rack is in. Cleaned up the underside, any leaks, fluid all over the place. got it all cleaned up. So almost ready to put it on the ground, start it up, get it up to operating temperature, do a little tuning on it. Don't know if we're driving it today. I guess we'll see. Maybe we'll drive it in and out of the shop, but I don't know if we'll drive it on the street or not. All right, guys, so we are pretty freaking close. Might even be able to just drive this right out. I want to show you guys the Volvo pump and how that all worked out. I also fixed the fog lights. This car had some goofy fog light stuff going on. So let's check them out. We got the DRLs and we got the LED fogs. Looking sick. I've done so much fixing to this car, found a lot of weird stuff going along the way. So not only fixing the motor, but everything along the way. Everything in here is nice and dusty, but I think I gotta put a shifter handle on, put that on, clean up the interior, clean up the paint. I know that we're gonna bring this over to Cody's and get the front bumper fixed. You guys keep commenting about the backwards Cobra emblems. There's a few chips. There's a chip there, we're just gonna kind of start knocking out some of these paint things and this awful painted lower diffuser. But I want to get her on the road first before we start, diving in there. But it's looking good. Just ignore the dust. You can thank Terminator for that. Okay, guys, so this is where we're at. This is the damage I was talking about. That we want to get fixed as well. But coming under here, check out this OEM level Volvo pump tucked right there. Fog lights have plenty of room, smacked right behind the inner fender well. It's literally perfect. We're using mostly stock power steering lines. We made one nice PTFE high pressure hose coming off of there. Everything else, we're looking pretty good. So one of the big hangups was the stock oil cooler was leaking oil from the rebuild. Don't know what happened. Ended up deleting it and using a Mach 1 / 2 valve, oil filter housing. Little bendy hose here. Gonna probably put something here just so that doesn't eventually rub through or make any noise, but we're looking pretty good. And you know what I just forgot? From the steering rack swap, I gotta tighten that. That's why I put this up on the lift, so I can show you guys and so that I can go ahead and do a once over on everything, make sure everything's tight, looking good. We got the Vikings on here. I don't know how low it is. I did crank them up down quite a bit. The full exhaust on here. The Steeda Touring, looking pretty freaking good. Fuel system. We got the flex fuel sensor under here, ran. I think we're gonna tuck up the fuel lines just a little bit more. You can see right here, flex fuel sensor. We tucked that right in there, ran that all the way over to the MS3, so we have flex fuel reading. These lines were a little bit long, and I think I might redo them, but for now, we did that. We got these on there, so that way that's nice and tucked up. Ran up here, away from the exhaust, and on the inner frame rail. It's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna go tighten that steering shaft, drive shaft, everything's looking pretty solid down here. So T56 Magnum, McLeod, we got some a good little bit of play. I'm gonna put a lock nut right there, but I think we're looking pretty solid. Not the biggest fan of this ugly pan, but it does work, and we have fantastic oil pressure, so we're gonna roll with it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start her up. Oil pressure, great. Y-band's turning on. I think we do need to do some tuning, and we also need to add some set screw to it. This exhaust is a little bit on the quiet side. I do want to get some Stinger mufflers in there, but that's what we had. It seems to work. Intercooler pump's working now. Alright, so we still got an exhaust leak we're battling. It's come right from here. It sounds awful. A lot of exhaust coming from here. I'm gonna have to loosen this up, slide this out, and fix some sort of leak that's going on right here. and it sounds awful. The rest of it's pretty decent, but looks like we got a coolant leak right there. So that's either coming from the water pump or it's coming from the cooling crossover. So let's get it down and take a look. It's also leaking over here too. Man, these headers suck. Problem after problem. Just gotta work through it. I'm really happy. The coolant leak right here. It's just the intercooler line. We can tighten that up. All right, it is running. You can hear the exhaust leak. It's right here. It's pretty awful, but my laptop's dead, so I gotta do some more tuning. It's really low up front. We're gonna have to raise that up. But it is running and it is outside. That's a touch too low up front. But it is outside and it does drive under its own power. Well, first thing on the agenda today is we got to get the front end raised up. It's pretty slammed, so let's go ahead and knock the both front wheels off and get these coilovers raised. Okay, so this is where the leaks are. You can actually see the black soot there. There's also a little crack right there. I probably should have just bought new headers, but I got a really good deal on these. So what I think the next course of action is, I might bring this over to my friend Nick, have him TIG weld basically the whole collector around, get that nice so it's not gonna keep cracking and leaking and all that. Going down the line, these Steeda Touring mufflers are way too quiet. My goal has always been to put a Stinger cap back in here, so I think that's what we're gonna end up doing. We're gonna put a Stinger muffler in. The IRS tailpipe section, these are brand new, so that's kind of why I went for this. Oftentimes these tips are kind of old and weathered, so really having these nice tips and everything looking really, really fresh, that was the goal here, and I knew I could swap out a muffler at any time. All right, guys, so here we are, Maiden Voyage, 194, coolant temp, intake air temp, looking pretty good. I think I just realized I didn't change the fan settings, so let's go ahead and make sure the fans come on a little bit sooner. Kick them on at 170. We got the MS3 Pro doing its thing. We haven't charged the AC yet. We do still have this exhaust leak, which kind of stinks, but any tuning we do technically is not even really going to be that accurate because the leak is so close to that wideband. But let's go ahead and drive it. I got auto-tune kicking, so that way I can make some corrections while I'm driving. We're gonna go around the corner. The car's obviously gonna need an alignment and various other things, but trans feels great. You can hear that exhaust leak. It's killing me. Killing me. You see we got good oil pressure, 80 PSI, driving. Wideband's, you know, it's getting there. So fourth. Wow, trans feels amazing. I love a good Magnum trans. Feels awesome. This is the first drive in this car, because other than driving on and off the trailer and in and out of the shop, I didn't drive this thing. So it's pretty awesome feeling to take something that didn't drive, you bought it, and now she drives. So pretty badass. Drives pretty decent too. I mean, this was just kind of a thrown together tune. Really wish we didn't have an exhaust leak, but woo, she's fast. She's quick. She's doing little pulls. That was wide open throttle though, so it works. You can watch. I watched the wide man. We went right into 11 air fuel. Hell yeah, brother! It works. It's a fresh clutch, fresh trans, so I want to at least get a little bit of miles on it before we go and, you know, kill this thing. But not too bad. Pretty sure I got like no timing in it. Super bass tune. This is sick though. We're driving. Yeah, buddy. Woo! Check that oil pressure out. Yeah, buddy. We are driving. There we go. Few little clicks of the keys, and we are going wide open throttle. Strap this thing down to the dyno, guys. Hell yeah. The alignment's not too bad, actually. We're definitely going to get one done, but it's driving great. This is fantastic. This is fucking fantastic. A little exhaust leak to fix, and we'll have ourselves a nice ripper. I also want to get some poreless stingers in this thing, because it is way too quiet. But it rips, dude. Oh, it's been a long few weeks of just kind of gathering the last little pieces, but to drive it right now, it's pretty freaking cool, dude. Pretty cool. Oh man, I can't wait to start leaning on this thing and see if it makes power. The cams, I can't really hear them at idle. I've dropped timing down, moved a few things around. I can get to the shop a little bit, but these mufflers are just so quiet, so, you know. Spicy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Woo! I guess I gotta put the top down at least once, right? Let's try it. It's pretty hot out. Florida, summer, convertibles, but we got a convertible, so let's freaking use it. There we go. Not too bad. All right, convertible driving. I can't wait for this exhaust leak to be fixed. Drives me a little crazy. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! She's spicy. Oh man, I love it. It's got like no timing in it too. Let's go. Turn on logger. Yeah! This thing's got no timing in it too. It is so fast. The trans shifts so nice. If you're debating putting a Magnum in your Cobra, like, those are super soft shifts because I'm not trying to hurt the trans or the clutch, but it shifts so freaking smooth. Yes! I'm so excited. Probably gonna need to do an intercooler pump. It's at like 150 IAT2 after that little rip. I mean, it's freaking real hot out, but the blower sounds amazing. I'm so excited. Feels like a good, you know, high 4, low 5 horsepower setup. Nothing too crazy. This is awesome. Awesome. Woo! Drives pretty good. Drives pretty freaking good. So awesome to be tuning my own cars now. You know, if you guys want to tune, hit me up. MS3, stock ECU, Coyotes, all of it. You guys seen. I tune all my friends' cars. We beat the shit out of them, and they love it. Got a second gear rip. Yeah! Oh, I'm so excited. You know, if it's spinning Toyo R888s a little bit, it's gotta be a little spicy. All right, let's go head back, check, make sure everything's good after a little first test drive. All right, just pulled back in. Coolant temp, great. That's to be expected. It's really hot out. Ethanol percentage is reading. Air fuel's looking pretty good. We're doing great. Fantastic. Oil pressure's good. That's about normal for hot. And then when you're driving, gets right up there, 60, 70. All right, well, I think that wraps it up. Other than a nice fresh wash, the ride height up front is looking perfect. Low and up, but not too low. Rear's got a little, you know, a little height to it, but we'll see how it goes. Front's adjustable, obviously. It's dirty, but you can see this paint's got potential. We're gonna get it all cleaned up. Gonna get it registered. Ready to rip. I am so excited. If you guys are enjoying the Terminator content, make sure you hit the like button down below. Help support the channel. Comment. Those interactions help get the video out to more people. Share with a Terminator friend, because I don't know anyone else out there, maybe besides Chris Sullivan, who's making some SVT Terminator content, but there's nowhere near on the level of this Eaton intricacy, what we're doing with Cody's car, this car. There's nothing like it. So help get this video out to more people, and we'll see you guys in the next one.